combustion, that's what it was. It evidently was caused from masking. Mastic, they call it, that they put on the floors.
Oh, they were painting or finishing the floors?
No, they were finishing the floors.
And what happened? Did it just start to burn, or did it explode?
It exploded, right.
When it exploded, did it trap you all from getting out? What did you do then?
Well, the floor man hollered fire. And then we, of course, tried to get out and couldn't, so we had to go into the outer offices and break the windows out.
I was coming out of my boss's office, and I looked around, and there was smoke coming out from all the doors. So I ran to the elevator, and there was no way getting out. It was all smoke and hot. So I went back in and called the fire department. And
what did you do then? What went through your mind?
Well, it's hard to say. So many things. I really don't know. We all went into one office. There were 7 of us in the office I was in. We finally had to break open a window, and we were hanging out the window for oxygen.
Did you ever think they would come to the point where the only way you could get out would be out of the window?
Yes. I certainly did. I thought maybe the fire would be in the room any minute. It was getting awfully hot.
Did the smoke bother you? Did you have?
Yes, we could hardly breathe. We were many of us. We brought in a water tank or water bottle, and we were using that with Kleenex over our nose to help us breathe a little bit. I put down the curtains, thinking if worse came to worse and the fire was actually in the room and we were getting ready to be eaten up by flames, that we could possibly hang out the window some way or other. And we were all screaming out the window for help. And it was an awful long wait for the firemen, but the sweetest words that we ever heard was, "Follow me."
At the present time, so far as I know, and I have information that confirms it, no official money is going to any part of the Black Panther or James Foreman movement. The Front for Reconciliation has already received a request from this group and has turned it down. Now then, having said all that, I hope that Charles Foreman and even all the misunderstanding will not leave the Methodist Church in a negative position. If we say no to this group, we need a double yes to black people all over this country for the neglect which we have given to them through the years.
Off on another subject, are you happy with the outcome of this afternoon's vote on the civil disobedience?
Very much pleased. There's been great confusion, I think, in the resolutions as well as in the minds of people. This afternoon, our conference voted to ask the General Conference to reword its statement so that it included more the Christian position, the Bible, Revelation, and the Church and Church Fathers.
Do you think they will?
I hope so. Don't ask me so soon, but I think efforts will be bent toward that direction.
I wished you would read the statements made by Mr. Nixon and Mr. Humphrey when all of this anarchy started. All of this sitting in the streets and lying in the streets started. Both of them endorsed it. Both of them helped to bring it about by giving their moral support to it, and then they come to Texas and Alabama and whine to you and me that we stand for law and order, and we're going to give you law and order. Well, they ought to give us law and order. They took law and order away from us in the country. They ought to give it back to us.
Well, we said many years ago when this movement started that it was not in the interest of solving grievances, but in the interest of destroying our society and disrupting. And now many even of the liberal administrators and colleges see that we knew what we were talking about, the people of Texas and of Alabama. And Mr. J. Edgar Hoover has said that the communist movement, the subversive movement is involved, and that's exactly the case. And the people of our country are sick and tired of a few militants trying to destroy educational institutions and society in general, and I think that public opinion is going to force those in official positions to take proper action.
Governor, have you, since the election, analyzed where the majority of your strength came from, the 10 million votes that you as a third-party candidate received?
Well, of course, our strength came from all over the country, and I might say that aside from the vote that we received in this new party movement, the fact that we made ballot position, the fact that we've established a beachhead, the fact that both national parties sounded as if they belonged to our party meant that this movement was highly successful, and so therein it was very successful. Of course, we received much support throughout the country, and toward the end of the campaign, many people either went to Humphrey or Nixon because they didn't think our movement could win, and they would like to have voted for us. I've seen analysis of it that well, he can't win, so I'll vote for someone else because I maybe dislike the other candidate the most, although I'm sure there were many who disliked me also.
Were you disappointed in the fact that you got the 10 million votes? Did you expect more?
Disappointed? Well, of course, at one time we would have received more votes, but 10 million votes for a new party movement going to a candidate who comes from the deep South is indeed remarkable. Not remarkable because of me, but because of this tip of the iceberg, and that's exactly what our movement was, the tip of an iceberg. And that iceberg contains many more millions of voters who are looking to this administration to help solve some of the domestic problems and international problems that exist.
Governor, it's good to see you again.
Well,
we hope to see you again soon.
Good to be in Dallas, and we're going by to see Mr. Dimitri Vale and look at the governor's portrait, which will hang in the state capitol in Montgomery, Alabama.
Lee, it's nice to see you. Welcome to Dallas.
for the secretaries, myself and a sales representative, John O'Connor. And finally, after about 5 minutes of staying low, that most people were in pretty bad shape, with a lot of tears and so forth, and we decided to bust open a window. But first we called down here to the city ticket office to ask the policemen to clear the area, since the slivers were as big as a door. We were afraid somebody would really get hurt seriously. So they did that, or they were about to do that, and we couldn't wait any longer, and we took a statue and busted the windows. But it all ended pretty well, and we just weren't too sure. There were a lot of shaky knees, including my own, I'm afraid.
Did anybody really panic, though?
No, I think it was relatively calm. I think it was, one of the gals was thinking about putting the drapes together, but I don't think we have that many drapes for 34.